Hey guys, Mike here, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for checking out another video of mine. Today, I am doing a video all about the Simpsons Road Rage, which, to my dismay, it has become very clear that this game is not looked on necessarily fondly by many people, especially when compared to its successor, The Simpsons Hit and Run. But this video is all in defense of The Simpsons Road Rage, which is one of the best Simpsons games, and just a really fun game that I've ever played. But before I get into it, first of all, please subscribe to my channel. I am on like 622, which is awesome. We're slowly growing. I really want to get to 1,000 so I can monetize my channel. I just do pop culture videos and discussions like this, so check out some of my other vids. I'm sure you'd like them. But enough about me. So I did this poll on my Instagram story the other day, go and follow me, radio.mike, when I was actually at my parents' place and I saw that we had both the Simpsons Road Rage and the Simpsons Hit and Run on PS2 in our old games closet. And I did a poll that was, which one do you prefer? And pretty much, like, I think there was like nearly 1,000 votes on this poll, and pretty much everyone was saying Hit and Run. Like, not many people were saying Road Rage. And I guess we can start this video by saying that Hit and Run was like Grand Theft Auto, the Simpsons version. It was like a PG Grand Theft Auto where you drove around and did missions in Springfield. You could play as a bunch of different Simpsons characters, and I never actually spent too much time with Hit and Run because we never actually had it as a kid. I think I came across that one on PS2 from a friend who lent it to me when I was like 20, way after the PS2 was a thing. So I don't think I've ever actually properly played Hit and Run. I know, it's pretty crazy because I'm a huge Simpsons fan. That being said, I know lots of people look back incredibly fondly on Hit and Run, and it was a really well-received game, and a lot of people are asking for like a remake or a remaster or a sequel to Hit and Run. I should note that there was also a game after Hit and Run just called the Simpsons Game, which was more like a, I don't know, like not a 3D platformer necessarily, but like just a 3D adventure game, again, where you play as a bunch of the different Simpsons characters and they all have different abilities. For example, Homer can turn into a big, like, it's not grounded in reality. For whatever reason, this game was not grounded in the reality of The Simpsons like the other games kind of were. Like, this one was really like fantastical. Homer could turn into a giant ball. Like, it was all these magic, I don't know, it was a weird game, but it was also a fun game. But for me, the most nostalgic Simpsons game is the Simpsons Road Rage, because that is the one that I spent the most time with growing up and loved so much. So in the same way that Hit and Run was essentially just a Simpsons version of Grand Theft Auto, the Simpsons Road Rage was basically almost to a T the same as a Sega game called Crazy Taxi. In fact, so much so that the makers of Crazy Taxi actually sued the creators of Simpsons Road Rage, I believe, for use of their property, or basically stealing their idea. I don't know the result of that, but from memory, I don't think they won the case. I think that the Simpsons Road Rage won the case. And what both Crazy Taxi and Road Rage involved was essentially you are a taxi driver and you're driving around a city following an arrow at the top of the screen that points where you need to drop people off. You're picking people up and you're dropping them off where they need to go, and the quicker you drop them off, the more money you make. And it was just like a really cool arcade-like experience where you could just drive around Springfield as you know it. Like, it gave Springfield a totally 3D explorable area, obviously only in a car, but keep in mind this was before Hit and Run. And my thing is that I think Road Rage set down a lot of the base work for what Hit and Run would become, because all of those car mechanics that are in there and the 3D explorable Springfield started with Road Rage and then became a bigger thing in Hit and Run. In some ways, I think Road Rage is very much the precursor to what Hit and Run would be, and I think it's important for that matter. There were lots of different locations you could drive around. The main one was just the main Springfield area, and there were all the great locations such as the school, the church, Evergreen Terrace, Moe's, all of those different locations that you know from the show, the school, and you'd have to drive around various different people from Springfield that you also knew and loved, including all the main family, the Wiggums, like any character from the show that you love, you were able to drive them around. And the pre-recorded dialogue lines are really funny by the original voice actors, and they would have different banter with different characters. And yeah, you would, after a while, you'd hear the same ones over and over again because they were so limited, but they were really funny. And I think that's another thing about Road Rage that I really liked, which is its attention to detail of the show. There's so many references to things in the show, different quotes from the show, and etc. But also, what I think is the best part about the show is the amount of different playable characters. Because when I was a kid playing this game, all of the fun came from earning money in the single player campaign, and then you could save up that money to buy new characters and unlock them. So that was the incentive to keep playing the game. You keep playing, you can unlock all the characters, and there are so many different characters from the Springfield universe in this game, and each vehicle they drive is referential to them in the show. For example, Homer drives the family sedan, but after a while you can I think one of the last things you can unlock is the car that Homer designs in the episode with his brother Herb. That car that he designs, the wacky car, you can drive that car around, you can unlock that. Marge drives the Canyonaro, Professor Frink drives a hover car, you've got like Barney who drives the Plow King, you can also unlock Homer as Mr. Plow, Chief Wiggum in a cop car, Otto in the school bus. All of these characters, like, really, it really felt like the creators of The Simpsons put work into this game to make it feel like it was the world of Springfield that you saw on TV. And that's what I think is the most important part about Road Rage. I think it never feels like a cash grab from some company that wanted to make money off the Simpsons franchise. Even if it was that, it still felt like a lot of care was put into the game to make it feel like The Simpsons. And I know that Hit and Run also does this, but I think it's important to note that it was Road Rage that initially did this, and it was Road Rage that initially set out to be this game that was respectful of the canon, in loose terms, of The Simpsons. And this idea of what The Simpsons world should look like in-game. And not just to the point of, like, visually what it looks like, but what it feels like, what the characters are doing, saying, where they're going, and etc. Like, you know, certain characters will be going to the church, like Flanders or Reverend Lovejoy or whoever it might be. Different characters are going to different areas that reflect who they are. It really just felt like The Simpsons Road Rage was a real living, breathing Springfield that we'd seen on TV. And of course, like, the animation and transferring them into 3D was never amazing, but I don't think Hit and Run did that amazingly either. But I just felt like it was a believable story in that, like, I don't know, Mr. Burns was running his own like transit company, so the people of Springfield were then taxiing people around, and I just felt like Road Rage was this great innovation in what a Simpsons game could be, and it felt real, it felt like The Simpsons, it felt like the world that we knew. And I think that was really important to the immersion of the game, especially for a kid. And yeah, I just think it's so believable, and it's clear that a lot of work was put into it. And I think from there, they took what they had, they took the skeleton of Road Rage, especially the car mechanics, and then added something new, added a bunch of new stuff, turned it into a fully fledged game as opposed to this like Road Rage, Crazy Taxi, arcadey kind of mechanic where you play sort of in sessions, right? They turned it into a fully fledged game like GTA. The car mechanic's still there, different playable characters again, but not as many playable characters as Road Rage, not as many things happening as in Road Rage. But yeah, I think overall the legacy of Road Rage is really important to what Hit and Run would become. And while people might think that Hit and Run is the better game, and it probably is the better game speaking from like a gameplay and development standpoint, I still think Road Rage is a really important game. And one thing I totally forgot to mention is the multiplayer in Road Rage went off. Like, you would play it with your brother or your cousins and you'd drive around and you had to crash into the other person to steal the passenger from them. That was awesome. So the multiplayer of Road Rage was a time, and if you never experienced it, it was so fun. I should do a video about it sometime, because that was an amazing multiplayer experience. And I don't know if Hit and Run ever had a multiplayer experience, but I guess it wasn't trying to be that. But yeah, all of the things I mentioned, plus the amazing local multiplayer on PS2. I think the game was also on Xbox and GameCube, but I had it on PS2. Road Rage, the legacy of Road Rage is that it's an amazing game in my eyes, and I think you should try it, even if you played Hit and Run and not Road Rage. You should try Road Rage at least once. It's a lot of fun. So that is why I think Road Rage deserves more respect My name is Radio Mike. You can check out some of my other videos. Subscribe. Check out my podcast. They go up on full on this channel. Subscribe. I think I already said that. Thumbs up. All the rest. Let me know what you prefer, Road Rage or Hit and Run. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I will see you later. Goodbye.
But I went to run my hand through your hair and I noticed you were attached to string. You were a puppet this whole time, you were attached to string.